The Bahamas braces for Hurricane Matthew. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Chris Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. Most of the Bahamas either under a hurricane watch or hurricane warning as the Leviathan of a storm is meandering towards the Bahamas.
Now it's expected to be a 4-day event as this monster storm, Category 4 now, makes its track straight across the islands of the Bahamas. We turn things over now to Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean with the latest on Hurricane Matthew. Good evening to you, Basil.
Thank you, Keisha. And Christopher, here's your update on Hurricane Matthew as it continues to take aim for the southeast Bahamas. Satellite pictures are showing that well-defined eye now moving toward the north, and it's wrapping its outer bands around Hispaniola, generating some showers and thunderstorms there. Outer bands also starting to impact the eastern coast of Cuba and the eastern coast of Jamaica as well. As this system continues trekking towards the north during the course of the night, we expect some of those showers to start spreading into the southeast Bahamas, and residents there should prepare themselves for those showers, which could be heavy at times. And we'll give you some details on what kind of inches we anticipate as it treks through. At 5 o'clock, the center of Matthew was at 16.3 degrees north, longitude 74.7 west, moving north at 7 miles per hour. The maximum sustained winds unchanged. It remains at 140 miles per hour. We anticipate some fluctuation over the next day or so as it makes that trek. This new position now puts it about 225 miles southwest of Port-au-Prince, Haiti. The forecast track has changed a bit because it's now interacting with the landmass of both Hispaniola and Cuba, and that is changing the whole dynamics of the storm system. That center line has now shifted a bit towards the west, which means it could bring the hurricane core winds a little closer to the capital where the population density is greatest. So anywhere in this cone, if your island fall anywhere in the cone, you should be preparing for hurricane force winds nevertheless. So that is how things are shaping up right now as this 5 o'clock has just been put out. In terms of rainfall, we expect heavy rainfall. We can anticipate anywhere between 8 and 12 inches of rainfall. So flooding will be a major issue in those islands where flooding is a problem, particularly Long Island, Crooked Island, those areas which had some issues last year. So you know the areas that are prone to these flooding. So if you live in those areas, the advice is to move to higher grounds. Also, storm surge, a major factor, 10 to 15 feet, expected above the normal tide. So if you live near the coast, you want to move inland and to higher grounds as well. Christopher and Keisha?
Now, Basil, one concern about this storm is that it's started to become slow moving, and sometimes that's not a good thing, but you're saying because of the interaction with the mountainous regions on Hispaniola and Cuba, that may be a good thing for us here with this slow moving monster.
Absolutely. If it spends more time over Hispaniola and Cuba, that is the storm structure itself, it will weaken significantly. However, if it accelerates, which we expect, at least the computer models are suggesting that it will pick up in forward speeds, and the only good thing about that is when it comes to rainfall, fast-moving storms don't allow rainfall to accumulate, so the rainfall, so flooding as a result of rainfall will be less, but nevertheless you will have a stronger storm. So either way you look at it, there's some pros and cons.
All right, Basil. Well, simply because Nasuvians tend to take these hurricanes, tropical storms, would like for you to speak to what's going to happen. We learned earlier today that we may be expecting winds of up to 60 miles per hour here in the capital sometime Wednesday afternoon. Tell us about what you expect weather-wise here in the capital, obviously where most of the population is.
Keisha, as I said just a few moments ago, the center line of that track has shifted a bit westward, and because of the interaction, the computer models have to readjust, and as a result, every 3 hours we are ingesting new information. So we had to advise residents to stay posted to your radio and television stations, because every 3 hours we will be putting out updates on this system, and to ensure that you are not out of the works, I strongly advise that you prepare accordingly for this hurricane. It's a very powerful one. 40 miles per hour is nothing to play with, even if it weakens to a Category 2. Still a very strong hurricane which can cause lots of damage moving through these islands, particularly the fact that we have suffered so much in the southeast Bahamas. There are still structures that have not been brought back up to its usual steadiness. So that can pose a problem under these heavy winds that we anticipate from the storm. So the key is preparedness. That is the only way we're going to stay safe and protect ourselves, is to take the necessary steps that we're asking you. That is, boarding up those vulnerable windows and doors where necessary, and make sure that your area are clear of debris, because it is those debris that become missiles during those very strong winds that can pose some problems for you later on. The other point that we mentioned, rainfall, very significant problem. If you live in those low-lying areas, remember, move out of them as quick as you can. And if you're living near the coast, simply move to higher grounds and more inland.